Now, the issue at hand now is that the MPC, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria, begins its meeting today, the 297th MPC meeting. They're holding today and tomorrow. So we expect to get a decision tomorrow. But as usual, we would like to see what to expect from this meeting. We do know that inflation has tapered twice now, and that is a major consideration for the meeting. Energy cost, however, is a threat to that reduction in inflation that has been recorded in the last 2 months. So let's discuss this and a whole lot more with Professor Nwokoma. He is the Chairman, Advisory Board of CIPA, and CIPA is the Center for Economic Policy Analysis and Research of the University of Lagos. Professor Nwokoma, good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so even as we speak, I believe the meeting would have started of the MPC. We know that we would have expected a soft landing after 2 months of reduction in inflation. But now we have energy prices, which is, we know, a major factor after food into inflation number. So I wonder what you see as considerations and priority for the MPC as they begin their meeting today.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think you raise an important point, very, very critical, about the inflation rate. It has come down for 2 months now. It's about 32% currently. And I think what just happened about energy prices, it raises some kind of concern, whether this fall in inflation can be sustained. Because when you have the price of PMS, which is a major driver for pricing, because goods and services, goods have to move from point A to point B. And of course, they move with transportation. And that multiplier is very, very strong in driving inflation. So I don't know whether that can be sustained, the fall in inflation over the past 2 months. So I want to believe that the Monetary Policy Committee will take that into consideration, that this party, this euphoria, this excitement about the fall in inflation will be short-lived because of the impact of energy prices. And I think that should come into play in what they decide today, tomorrow, as regards what the NPR should look like. Because to me, it's the energy issue is quite significant.
Yeah, but can't we say that perhaps we are attaining a kind of stability now that Dangote supply, should be expected or has been expected? We don't even know when, it gets, but we do know that NNPCL has, taken off some of the products from Dangote. Shouldn't that give us the kind of succor that there'll be supply and stability even in the price?
I see it slightly differently, because we have this kind of contention between Dangote and NNPCL as regards what the pricing will, about their buying from Dangote and all that. There are so many issues that have to be resolved because that sector needs a lot of reforms. Many persons feel that way, and I feel so too. The operation of NNPCL is actually shrouded in so much mystery. People now begin to wonder what actually is the actual price. Is it that those who are importing are trying to sabotage Dangote, or what? What are the issues? Because unless that is resolved, the benefit we may gain from Dangote being operational may actually be lost because of issues. People talk about cabal or whatever, and those who are importing actually will have a challenge in their business. So there's a lot of mystery concerning the role of NNPCL and Dangote and the marketers in this whole imbroglio, I will call it. So unless that is resolved, the price of PMS will still remain high. And if it remains high, it has this pass-through effect on inflation. So I think government needs to help, not just by talking about monetary policy issues, changing rates, but resolve this quagmire between importation, Dangote production, getting crude for Dangote to operate. There's so many issues that have to be resolved so that you can have an appropriate pricing for Dangote products. And then that will have a pass-through effect on the entire economy. The Monetary Policy Committee should be able to take that into consideration, not just changing rates. There are other issues that are largely structural that have to be resolved for us to get it right as regards energy prices.
So does it mean that we should still expect another hike and all the negative effects that go with it in this meeting?
My concern is that there should be no hike, but because the previous hike in monetary policy rate, in my view, I did not subscribe to that because central bank appears to feel that inflation is the inflation we have in Nigeria now is a monetary phenomenon. I see it otherwise. The inflation we have currently in Nigeria is structural. It's usually cost push. There are so many factors that are not monetary that are driving inflation. Things like insecurity, production in agricultural sector, which affects food inflation. Issues about infrastructure, which have and the foreign exchange issues, input prices, imported input prices, which affects manufacturing. So there are many issues that are structural, which have to be addressed. It's not necessarily try to hike rates. In my view, government should focus more on addressing these issues that are largely structural. The issue about energy prices with NNPC address that. The issue about security address that. Inflation will come down. In my view, the Monetary Policy Committee should not in any way, that's my view, consider hiking the NPR. In fact, the economy is shrinking currently. When this government came into office last year, Nigeria was the largest economy in Africa. Now we are fourth because the economy is shrinking. We're taken by South Africa, by Egypt, by Algeria. Nigeria is now fourth on the continent because our economy is shrinking. So we need to encourage growth, not just fight inflation, which can address inflation by looking at the other issues that are largely structural. It's basically cost push. Address inflation by that point. Then when it comes to growth, make credit available, make the environment conducive, then we'll be able to bring up growth. If we keep on hiking rates, what are we going to do? We're going to attract portfolio investment from abroad. And let us also know that globally, monetary policy is easing. Even in the US, they are easing their monetary policy. They are cutting rates. So hiking rates is not the way to go, in my view. If you want to address inflation, address the issues that are largely structural. And then you even need to lower rates because the global economy is lowering rates. Nigeria, in the central bank, in my view, should consider lowering the NPR so as to create room for economic growth. Unless we do that, the economy will continue to shrink.
Yeah, but Professor Nwokoma, if you talk about lowering rates because others are lowering rates, they would point out the fact that the factors are different. Where we are at this time, our state of economy is different compared to, look at the US. They've been fighting inflation. They have a target and they are on that target. Even South Africa also. But on the other hand, if you say they shouldn't, that's a monetary policy, what other instruments can they do? Other things you mentioned, they are for the fiscal authority to handle.
For the other economies, basically, they have their own challenges. Nigeria has. And our challenge currently is bringing stability in the system, which appears to be so, but it is actually transitory, in my view. If we keep our rates high when the global economy is lowering rates, attraction to be able to attract foreign capital, it's not going to bring in FDI because it's not, and more, even if FDI comes, it's not even based on such changes in your NPR. FDI to Nigeria are largely resource-seeking FDI. They are coming for resources, maybe oil sector and all that. They're not coming for efficiency. They're not coming for the market. Only FDI for MPA came in for called the large market. Basically, hiking rates or keeping the rates constant because the world is keeping it, they have a different condition may not be the way to go, because our own circumstances they mean that we need to grow as an economy. We need to increase the tempo of economic activities. We need to empower the medium and small scale industries. We need to make credit available. Remove the credit squeeze Let money be easily available, and then we cannot begin to enhance growth. That's our concern. So what the world is doing, it affects us, but basically what they are doing is even helping us to know that hiking our own rates will not actually be there, because already they've helped us by lowering rates. So definitely, even if we, at the worst case scenario, we should hold, keep the rates the way they are. Or, in my view, lower rates, because our current condition is that we need to grow the Nigerian economy. Currently, it is shrinking.
But Prof, can we look at the benefit of this hike, FPI? I mean, we've seen the government raising a lot of money from the money market. Could we count that? At least now the CBN can easily intervene in the market. Could we count that as gains of this hike? At least one of it?
The hike, I don't really see any long-term gain. The gains in the hiking of the rates actually are just are temporary, because just like the former central bank governor gave an illustration about somebody who is about to die, and then you need blood for that person, and the only available blood is HIV-infected blood. And what do you do? Do you say, okay, this person needs blood, but the only available blood is HIV-infected? And then he says, why not take the HIV-infected blood and then revive the person, and then after that you don't begin to treat HIV? That was the thinking. So that taking in these are hot money, it's portfolio. When you begin to hike rates, you are bringing in, like you say, oh, blood. Any blood is still blood. But if you have alternatives, you don't need to take HIV blood. If you have alternatives, except you don't have alternatives. But I don't think Nigeria is in that strict condition where we must, because we are being assisted by the global economy. So the benefits for hiking rates, in my view, are basically short-term in nature, because the economy, the money we are bringing in does not keep you for a long time. It's actually short-term effect. In my view, the best way to go is to lower rates by some basis points. And the worst case scenario, keep it or hold. Hiking rates, it may have benefits that are but actually short-term, and which may be counterproductive for the growth of the economy, which in my view is what we need. There's also much unemployment. Get people engaged. We should get people engaged so that jobs can be created. Lower rates so that we can grow the economy.
All right, Prof. Thank you so much.